Welcome back to that Cyber Guy. So today we are going to continue our video. So if you don't know how we started, please look up into the video that you are watching. Click on that to see how to download your server because you're going to need that to run PHP. All right. So what we are going to do, we are going to just try to create a form today because the purpose of that is to try to create a form and then to put input validation into it. All right. So let's go ahead. You can type HTML. If you hit enter, you see Sublime arrow is just automatically autofill it for you. So now we have the doc type HTML. The doc type, what it is. So this is a declaration that tells the browser that this is an HTML. And for the HTML right here, we can add a language. You can put English, and then that's plain text, plain self-explanatory. That this is the attribute that specify the language of the document, which in our case is English. What about the head? So the head is the element that contains metadata about the document, like the character encoding, viewport settings, and link to external style sheets or scripts. For example, if you were to put your CSS moving forward, this is where you are going to put our CSS, or if we have any JavaScript that we are going to call. So this is where they are going to be. Now, if you see that that meta concept, UTF-8, this is the character encoding for UTF-8, which allows for a wide range of characters and symbols. All right, so what we are going to do right here, we missed one. So the initial scale 1. So this is set to viewport settings for mobile device. So this ensures that the page is displayed correctly to the correct scale. Because at some point, you may just want your website to be very responsive, like working fine and on any device. So this is very important. For the title, we can just give it a title. We can say it's simple form. Simple form. All right. And then this is the title. This is self-explanatory. All right. And then it's a simple form. If I were to just refresh and then go back to my form, as you can see here, the simple form is at the top. Good. So right now, as you can see on HTML, they call this, this is a tag. When something is open, it's closed. You have to, if it is open, it has to be closed. So now let's just walk into, we are done with the header. As you can see, this is the open tag and this is the close tag. This is a section for the header. Now for the body, this is where the element of the HTML gonna be. So what we are going to do right now, so in HTML you have a bunch of things that you can do. For example, what we are going to do, we are going to have H and HTML, they have like this stands for for header. Like you have header 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. So what we are going to do, we can just try an header 1, and then we can call it simple form. Now, if I were to just save and then go back right here, fresh. As you can see, there's a sample form right here. All right, so to just show you what it is do, for example, I can actually copy, I can just put H2, say simple form, and then I'm going to just copy it. Like we are going to go from H1 to H6 you're gonna see, to give you an example how this works and how it's gonna look like. H4, H5, and then H6. Alright. So if we were to save, you can see this is gonna go from the biggest to the small, as you can see. So you see that it's just getting smaller until the end. Alright, this is to show the earliest, sometimes the highest number is the smallest. Alright, so now we can delete this. This was a demonstration. So now what we are going to do, we are going to create a form in HTML. To create a form, you just put the form tag, and if you're using Sublime, you can just hit enter, and you can see it automatically put everything for you. So now what we can do, I can just hit tab. So this has nothing to do with whether or not this is gonna work. The reason why I just press the tab is to just make sure that all this they are inside it, they are inside the body. Just give me a second, please. We should put this inside the body. There we go. All right. So I just want to make sure that this is inside the body. That's why I just hit enter. So now inside that form, what we are going to do, we are going to create a label. All right. Now before we proceed, we have to just explain what a label is. So what a label is. So a label, it just it's an element that provides text description of the field. This time, we're gonna see we are going to use input. The input gonna just provide the actual input field, but the label, just allow you to just provide description of the field. All right, so this will make more sense as we are moving forward. So for the label, what we are going to do, we can just can say this label gonna be name. We can say for in the name, for name, and then we can just call it name, and then we are going to just have a couple of input. So what is an input? As I say, it's an element that provides the actual input field. So for an input, sorry, let me just go right here. For the input field, if you have an input field, this is where that gonna just get actual data for from the user. For example, in the input, what we are going to say inside the input, you can say type. What type we're gonna need? This is a text. Sorry, type text. And then we're gonna give it an ID. The reason being is because we are going to connect this with CSS. Because with CSS, when you give a field or an input an ID, you can actually call them anytime. Oh, sorry, gonna call this name, and then the name gonna be name. All right, and then what we are going to do, because we want this to be on, we want to hit enter. I'm going to put BR, which means that break the page. Because if I were to put everything without BR, you're gonna see all the field gonna be like in one line. So now what we can do, we can actually just the label. It's gonna be repetitive task. Now that label gonna be for what? It's gonna be for email. Sorry, for email. And then we're gonna call it email. All right, and then we're gonna do the same. We're gonna create an input. Now remember again, so when you have labels and input, these elements, like, they work together to create a form field. So the label element provides a text description of the field, while the input element provide the actual input field. So now let's say input. So that's good. It just automatically say, the type. So what we're gonna say type email, because what it's gonna do now, it's probably almost do a kind of input validation for us. Because if someone trying to type like a non-email into that field, you're probably gonna see an error message. We're gonna test it soon. And then ID, we're gonna give an ID. We're gonna give ID of email, which is something that makes sense. So you cannot have an email field and you just give an ID of potatoes or avocados. So that can confuse, all the developers in the future. And then the name, we're gonna call it email. And then we're gonna just break the page again, so we can have a new line. And then now we have, we can create one last label, or you can actually for our message, because this is if you're getting message from a customer, you can just call this message. All right, and then what we can actually do now, we can just do the message. Now we can just have a text area. So what the text area gonna do, so this is gonna have like a big text field that gonna just allow users to just type whatever they wanna type. We're gonna give it an ID of message, and then name message. We're gonna give it a name of message, name message, and then we can just go ahead and just put it in a break, new page. And then now we need like one last thing. We're gonna need a submit button. Try to hit input, and I see this is still working. As you can see, our submit button is not here, but we're like, okay, let's give it a type. The type is gonna be submit. And then the name, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just give the value of submit. There we go. I can just save this, come back right here. You see there's a submit button. Now, as you can see, this doesn't look pretty. What I can do, I can actually instead of putting 1 BR, I'm going to put 2 BRs. So to just give it a kind of more space between each other. Also, here we are not going to put anything into labels. We just leave the labels like that. So we're gonna just put it into the field only. Okay. Yeah. And then if we refresh, there we go. It looks much better. Now if I hit submit, you see message. So now this is just an example of a simple form. So I'm going to try to test something. So there's no input validation. So what we can try to do, we can try to make sure that this field they are required, that nobody can hit submit. So to do so, what we can do into the email field, so what we can try to do right here, we can say required, put a required here, and then we can save. Let me try again, refresh it. Say it's a email required. So if I were to put me.com, you see that you should just input an entire email. All right, so this is the end of our series for today. So next week what we are going to do, we are going to just make this beautiful. Okay, we are going to just put CSS into this one and make it so beautiful, and then after that we can just connect it to PHP. Alright, if you found this video useful, make sure that you give us a thumbs up, and make sure that you subscribe today to stay up to date with our weekly videos. As you can see, if you go to our videos, you see that you can just learn cybersecurity completely free. And then right now we are just starting, just teaching you programming, not in a very simple way, but to make sure that you just build securely. So don't miss out this opportunity. Thank you so much.